Have you ever replayed an argument in your mind for hours, maybe even days? Someone cuts you off in traffic and ruins your morning. A coworker makes a snide comment, and suddenly your entire day feels heavy. Your family member criticizes you and you can't shake the anger even as you're trying to sleep that night. Here's the truth that changes everything. Those people didn't actually ruin your day. You did, and the ancient Stoics proved that once you understand how anger really works, you can become completely unshakable. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, yet he faced constant betrayal, criticism, and disrespect. Epictetus was a slave with a crippled leg, subjected to abuse and indignity daily. Seneca served under Nero, one of history's most unstable emperors, never knowing if today would bring reward or execution. These three men lived under extreme pressure, yet they mastered the art of remaining calm when everyone around them lost control. Today you're learning their exact techniques for never getting angry or bothered by anyone again. These aren't abstract theories. They're battle-tested strategies from men who faced far worse than your difficult boss or annoying relative. Subscribe to Stoic Forge if you're serious about mastering emotional control. Now let's dive into the wisdom that will set you free. Principle 1. Understand that people can't actually hurt you. Epictetus taught the most liberating truth in all of philosophy. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. When someone insults you, their words are just vibrations in the air. Those vibrations have no inherent power to hurt you. What hurts is your interpretation. As a slave under Epictetus in Rome, around 68 AD, Epictetus endured treatment that would break most people. His master once twisted his leg during a punishment, eventually crippling him permanently. Yet Epictetus reportedly said during the abuse, "You're going to break my leg." When it snapped, he calmly stated, "Didn't I tell you?" His composure came from understanding that his master could break his body, but couldn't touch his mind unless Epictetus permitted it. Marcus Aurelius faced this principle from the opposite position. As emperor from 61 to 80 AD, he dealt with conspiracies, including one led by his trusted general Epictetus Cassius in 1705 AD. Cassius declared himself emperor, believing Marcus was dead. When Marcus learned of this betrayal, he didn't rage or seek brutal revenge. He wrote in his meditations, "When you wake up, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil." Here's your application. Your boss criticizes your work unfairly. The criticism itself is just words, just sound. Your automatic thought might be, "This means I'm incompetent. Everyone will think I'm a failure." But that's your interpretation, not reality. You could just as easily interpret it as, "My boss is having a bad day and needs someone to blame. This says nothing about my actual competence." The power lies in recognizing that you're the author of the meaning you assign to events. Once you grasp this, people lose their ability to disturb you because you stop granting them that power. He called it temporary madness and argued, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. He understood that anger is a poison you drink, hoping the other person will die. Seneca's life tested this principle constantly. He served as advisor to Emperor Nero, who grew increasingly paranoid and violent. In 59 AD, Nero murdered his own mother Agrippina. Seneca, who had tried to moderate Nero's worst impulses, watched as his influence waned and the emperor became a monster. In 65 AD, Nero accused Seneca of conspiracy and ordered him to commit suicide. Throughout these years of serving an unstable tyrant, Seneca practiced what he preached about anger. He wrote, "The best cure for anger is delay. Forget to grant you a brief postponement. The first blows of anger are heavy, but if it waits it will think more clearly." Think about your last argument with your spouse or family member. In the heat of anger, you said things you regret. The anger felt righteous in the moment, but looking back, what did it accomplish? It damaged the relationship. It created stress in your body. It probably kept you awake that night. Meanwhile, the other person might have forgotten about it hours later. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused them? Your coworker's rude comment lasts 5 seconds. Your anger about it lasts 5 hours, or 5 days, or longer. You're multiplying your own suffering by holding on to it. When someone bothers you, ask yourself, is my anger about this improving my life in any way? Am I punishing them or just torturing myself? The honest answer will dissolve most of your anger immediately. Principle 3. See annoying people as teachers. Epictetus taught his students, Difficulties show a person's character. Therefore, when a challenge confronts you, remember that God is matching you with a younger sparring partner. The difficult person in your life isn't your enemy. They're your training equipment. After gaining freedom around 93 AD, Epictetus opened his school and encountered students from wealthy Roman families who had never faced real hardship. They complained constantly about minor inconvenience. One student was upset because his servant hadn't warmed his bathwater properly. Another was angry because someone at a dinner party had insulted his family's reputation. Epictetus would tell them, every person you meet is an opportunity to practice virtue. The rude person teaches you patience. The liar teaches you honesty. The betrayer teaches you loyalty. You should thank them for the training. Marcus Aurelius adopted this perspective as emperor. In his meditations he wrote, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, today I will encounter people who are busybodies, ungrateful, and overbearing, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. Your difficult coworker who constantly undermines you. They're teaching you patience and professionalism under pressure. Your critical family member who never approves. They're teaching you to find validation internally rather than externally. Your ex who treated you bad. They taught you what you won't tolerate in future relationships. Reframe every annoying person as a personalized training program designed specifically for your growth. The exact difficulty you're facing is the exact skill you need to develop. Your anger toward them is like being angry at your gym equipment for being heavy. That's the whole point. Principle 4. Accept that people act according to their nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, when someone wrongs you, ask yourself, what view of good and evil did they have that made them act this way? Once you understand that, you'll feel pity rather than anger. This principle transformed how Marcus dealt with enemies and incompetence throughout his reign. From 1606 to 180 AD, Rome faced the Antonine Plague, which killed millions. Marcus dealt with military threats on multiple borders, economic crisis, and constant political intrigue. People around him failed him repeatedly, yet he rarely showed anger. He wrote, a cucumber is bitter. Throw it away. There are briars in the road. Turn aside from them. This is enough. Do not go on to say, why were such things made in the world? In other words, scorpions sting because they're scorpions. Asking them not to sting is pointless. Seneca expressed the same idea differently. He wrote about his experience with rude people in Rome's public spaces. A man who enters a bathhouse should expect to be jostled. A man who enters public life should expect to be criticized and betrayed. This isn't bad luck. It's the nature of those environments. Your teenager acts selfishly. That's adolescent nature. Your boss is unreasonable. That's probably how they learn to lead. Your neighbor is nosy. That's their personality. Getting angry at people for being who they are is like getting angry at water for being wet. This doesn't mean you tolerate harmful behavior. You set boundaries and remove yourself from toxic situations, but you do it calmly, recognizing you're dealing with people operating according to their nature and understanding, not because you're a victim who needs to rage against injustice. Principle 5. Focus on your own character, not their behavior. Epictetus taught, don't concern yourself with what others think of you. Concern yourself with what you think of yourself. When someone bothers you, your focus shifts entirely to them. What they said, what they did, how unfair it is. This focus on externals guarantees you'll stay bothered. Marcus Aurelius dealt with this constantly as emperor. People plotted against him, criticized his decisions, and questioned his competence. He could have spent his reign obsessed with managing his reputation and punishing critics. Instead he wrote, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. After Emperor Domitian exiled all philosophers from Rome in 93 AD, Epictetus, then around 60 years old, had to relocate to Nicopolis and rebuild everything. He could have been consumed with anger at the injustice. Instead he focused on continuing to teach with the same excellence, because his character was the only thing fully in his control. When your family member criticizes your life choices, they're testing your character. Will you respond with dignity or defensiveness? Will you stay true to your values, or compromise them to win an argument? Your response reveals your character, not theirs. Seneca put it this way, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials. Every person who bothers you is friction polishing your character. The question isn't whether they're being annoying. The question is whether you're being excellent in response. Shift your focus from what did they do, to who am I being right now. That shift transforms every interaction from a threat into an opportunity. to demonstrate your value. Principle 6. Practice the pause before reacting. Seneca's most practical advice about anger was simple. Delay. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. In the meantime, reason will return." Every Stoic philosopher emphasized creating space between stimulus and response. When Nero ordered Seneca's death in 65 AD, Seneca could have raged against the injustice. He'd served Rome faithfully for decades. He'd tried to guide Nero toward wisdom. Now he was being executed on false charges. Instead, Seneca calmly said goodbye to his friends, asked them not to cry, and opened his veins while discussing philosophy. His final hours demonstrated perfect emotional control, because he'd practiced the pause for decades. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Between every trigger and your response is a gap. In that gap lies all your power." Most people react automatically. Someone insults them and words fly out of their mouth before they've thought. Someone criticizes them, and they're defending themselves instantly. Epictetus taught his students to literally pause and count to 10 before responding to provocation. One student complained this felt unnatural. Epictetus replied, "Being enslaved to your immediate emotional reactions is natural. Being free requires practice. Here's your practice. Next time someone says something that bothers you, do nothing. Don't speak. Don't formulate your response. Just breathe and count to 5. In those 5 seconds, ask yourself, what response would I be proud of tomorrow? What would the best version of myself say right now?" That pause transforms you from a reactor into a responder. Reactors are controlled by others. Responders are controlled by their own value. Principle 7. Remember, everyone is fighting their own battle. Marcus Aurelius showed remarkable empathy, even toward his enemies. He wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" When his general Avidius Cassius rebelled in 1705 AD, Marcus could have focused on the betrayal and ingratitude. Instead, he considered what might drive a man to such desperation. When Cassius was killed by his own soldiers before Marcus could reach him, Marcus forbade any punishment of Cassius's family and supporters. He burned all correspondence related to the conspiracy without reading it, ensuring no one else would be implicated. This compassion came from recognizing that everyone operates from their own pain and limitations. The person who cut you off in traffic might be rushing to the hospital. Your critical boss might be facing pressure from above that you don't see. Your angry spouse might be carrying stress you haven't asked about. Epictetus taught, "Remember that it is not he who reviles you or strikes you who insults you, but it is your opinion about these things as being insulting. When anyone provokes you, know that it is your own opinion that has provoked you." Seneca wrote about dealing with rude people in the marketplace. Someone steps on your foot in a crowd. Do you curse them? They didn't see you. They're dealing with their own concern. Assume ignorance before malice. This doesn't excuse genuinely harmful behavior, but it prevents you from taking things personally that aren't actually about you. Most people who bother you aren't thinking about you at all. They're acting from their own fears, insecurities, and limitations. When someone annoys you, ask, what pain might be driving their behavior? What am I not seeing? This question doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Each morning, imagine the worst interactions you might face. This removes the surprise factor that intensifies anger. Marcus Aurelius practiced this as emperor. Before dealing with the Senate, he would mentally rehearse senators being corrupt, stupid, or hostile. When they actually were, he wasn't shocked or angered because he'd already encountered them mentally. He wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." This seems pessimistic until you understand the psychology. When you expect people to be difficult and they're not, you're pleasantly surprised. When you expect perfection and encounter normal human flaws, you're constantly disappointed and angry. Before your family gathering, imagine your uncle making inappropriate comment. Before your meeting, imagine your boss being unreasonable. Before your commute, imagine traffic and rude drivers. When these things happen, you recognize them as predicted scenarios. Your response becomes, "Ah yes, there it is, I prepared for this." This practice doesn't make you cynical, it makes you unshakable. The unprepared person rages at traffic. The prepared person knew traffic was likely and brought a podcast. Same traffic, different experience. Seneca died by forced suicide in 65 AD. Epictetus died around 35 AD in Nicopolis. All three faced death calmly because they practiced these principles daily.
You now have the same 8 principles that kept these men calm through slavery, betrayal, exile, and execution. The question is whether you'll practice them. Pick one principle that speaks to your current struggle. Practice it exclusively this week. When your coworker annoys you, when your family member criticizes you, when a stranger is rude, apply that one principle. These techniques aren't about suppressing emotions or becoming cold. They're about freeing yourself from being controlled by other people's behavior. Your peace of mind is too valuable to hand over to every person who crosses your path. If this video gave you practical tools for emotional freedom, share it with someone who's struggling with anger right now. Subscribe to Stoic Forge for more ancient wisdom for modern challenges. Your journey to becoming unshakable starts with applying one of these principles today. The Stoics proved it's possible. Now prove it in your own life.